I'm ready if you're ready.
Yep. Hey everybody, welcome back. Another episode. Another Sean. Every time.
Every freaking time.
This is Jared from Ninja Mafia Entertainment with me. As always. Wasn't supposed to be. I've said this like 5 times. Sean from Byra and Barrow. How you doing?
Sorry
buddy?
about that. I wasn't supposed to be getting phone calls right now, and I'm okay, I guess.
I know you're having some trouble with some stuff.
Yeah, we're trying to record a Let's Play right now, and it's just not having it. Here, shut the door if you will. Give us a little bit of extra privacy.
Yeah. Alright, we are here today. This one was your idea.
Yeah, that'll get edited out. Was it my idea?
It was your idea.
It was? Oh, okay. Well, I figured since we had done a list of movies that kind of helped develop our taste for, or give the audience a developing taste for how we perceive movies and what we think is good, I thought we should probably try and do one for comics since you want to do a lot of stuff with comics.
I am a big comic fan.
You are a huge comic fan.
So we have developed a top 10 list of best and worst.
That's top 5 best and top 5 worst, with one honorable mention.
I did go ahead and I didn't know what you meant when you said that, so I did do 10 and 10. So what I'll do is, like, since I did each, I'll just blast through the 5 without, and kind of just say what it was, because on accident I did the whole thing.
That's what I was thinking.
And then, like, the 5, I'll go into detail. The 5 worst, the 5 best. So
alright, that'll work.
Let me pull up my handy dandy notepad here. Okay, my top number 10 on both my lists are the same thing.
Oh?
First and worst, and it's because, like, I'll explain this one. It's because I liked the storyline, but I hated the after effects and what it completely did to everything. Flashpoint.
Okay.
That was number 10 on my best and worst. For worst, it was Flashpoint. Number 9 was Secret Wars.
Okay, well, okay, never mind. You're gonna go into detail when you go to the 5.
Well, yeah.
Okay.
Well,
okay.
I'll quick detail it. Secret Wars. It was a.
Now, are you talking about the old Secret Wars or the new Secret Wars?
The new one that merged the Marvel Universe together, obviously, because it's just a ripoff. Kick-Ass 3. I think we all know.
Third?
Yeah.
Christ, I wish this were liquid.
Spider-Verse, Batman, Rest in Peace. That was my top first 10 through 6 of the worst. 10 through 6 of the best were Flashpoint, Batman TMNT, just because it was fun, Kick-Ass, Wanted, All Hail Megatron.
Okay.
Alright, and now we can jump into the top 5 of the... Which one do you want to do first, worst or best?
Let's go ahead and do worst, because there's a lot to talk about with the worst. The best usually end up speaking for themselves, so let's go ahead and do the worst.
Alright, worst. I'll let you go first, man.
You gonna let me go first?
I just blasted through 5, so...
Alright, my 5th pick for the worst is The Ultimates 3/Ultimatum.
I never even read that one.
It's kind of awful. It deals with the fallout of a sex tape released of Tony Stark and Black Widow. They're less concerned about national security as they are their public image. It's revealed that Scarlet Witch and Quicksilver are in a romantic relationship, and Cap is laughed at for saying that is icky. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. Apart from that, everybody's just written real stupid. The reason I put it down on this list as a low point is because I can actually find at least something good with it, and that's in the background there's this setup for what pays off later at the end, and for those of you who want to read it, I'm not really sure why you would, but it pays off really well, actually. It's subtle, and it works well, and it shows that there is actual writing talent there. And it just makes me really sad that they had to go into Ultimatum, which pays off that wonderful bit of setup, but at the same time, just adds in, I don't know how many heroes dead for little to no reason. Most of them die off panel, and the Blob eats Wasp. like cannibalizes her. I don't know if she was dead when he found her or if he started chewing into her while she was alive. I don't know. I don't care. It was gross. It was icky, and I'm out.
Okay.
I am out. That being said, for those of you who watch other stuff, you might find a similar trend with another comic book reviewer on the internet, Linkara, of Atop the Fourth Wall. And honestly, it's because I watched a couple of his reviews. He does bad comic books usually.
Yeah.
And I started reading some of these because they're like, surely a lot of this is played up for dramatic effect and comedic effect, and occasionally you'll get some of it, but yeah, if it's ever on his show, it's usually the cream of the crap. Okay. Unless he gets a Mr. T comic, in which case it is golden. Because Mr. T can do no wrong.
Well, just to let everybody know, these are our personal opinions. These aren't written on a list anywhere.
Yeah, these are just us talking.
Yeah.
No need to worry.
My fifth worst was Infinite Crisis.
Really?
Yeah. And it served no point, and it undid everything that happened 20 years ago. There was Crisis on Infinite Earths, which, was it merged all the Earths together.
Right.
Infinite Crisis undid all of that.
Yeah,
and recreated the multiverse.
Correct me if I'm wrong, but yeah, Infinite Crisis was meant to collapse the multiverse, but through there they created the idea of hypertime.
Yeah.
And that was actually a really cool theory, and I don't know why they got rid of it, but they did. Now, Infinite Crisis is Superboy Prime, yes?
Yeah.
And the infamous "I'll kill you to death" line.
Yes.
Yeah. I wanted to put that on there, but then I realized I got fed up with it about the time he vaporized a pregnant chick.
Yeah. And then
I was just like, I'm not reading this anymore.
Yeah, he killed Superboy, which was the character death had really no impact because a lot of people weren't really attached to Superboy,
right?
Or didn't really know who he was at the time. Now that Young Justice has been out, it'd be a little bit more impactful. Plus, this set up for a couple of my other worst on this list.
Okay,
but this thing did pretty much nothing good for the DC universe at all. I didn't see any positive side effects, nothing.
But we got Battle for Bloodhaven. Don't ask, it's shit.
I won't. Okay. Let's move on to your number 4.
My number 4, moving into DC, actually, Asbar. All-Star Batman and Robin. Frank Miller, who apparently really loved the term "the goddamn Batman," invents somebody that, once again, I have to agree with the other internet reviewer here, he's not really Batman. He's some crazy homeless guy who won the lottery and stumbled across Batman's cave, took all his stuff, and is simply known as Crazy Steve. No one uses their brain. No one acts like their actual character.
And then who's Robin?
Robin is Dick Grayson, age 12. Kidnapped mere hours after his parents were shot in the head. Don't ask why, it's never actually revealed. It's hinted that the Joker is the person who wanted his parents dead, but nobody knows why. And then, once he calls the Batmobile queer, Batman calls the 12-year-old a retard. And punches him.
I don't.
That's the comic where it was a good idea to paint a room yellow to stop the Green Lantern.
I'm done.
Yeah.
I'm done. I don't want to know more.
You honestly don't.
I think I'm done.
This series was
crap.
It was crap start to finish, and it made me stop reading Frank Miller.
I can understand why.
The worst part is Jim Lee's artwork, which is the only saving grace of this series, is just completely and totally wasted. I mean, anybody, you know who Jim Lee is.
Yeah.
Anybody who's seen his work, I know you have. If you've ever picked up a comic book, he's done tons of work. He does beautiful work, and it made me so sad to see him paired with this. And supposedly they're going to finish out the series run, which is now, if I'm not mistaken, close to 3 years overdue.
I haven't seen it. I haven't bothered to try to read it. It just...
Well, if you're looking for a bad comic book to read, especially from the Batman side of things, definitely look into All-Star Batman and Robin, which is damn sad to be paired in the same grouping of All-Star Superman, which is a fantastic book. It is great, and it's highly probable the reason we didn't get All-Star Wonder Woman, Green Lantern, or The Flash. So, thanks again, Frankie. Did good.
Well,
right, what you got?
Mine takes a reverse, and it jumps from DC to Marvel. Siege.
And which one was Siege? This is
Siege
during my
is
time I fell out of comics.
Siege is where was during Dark Reign, which was all the bad guys had basically somehow got Norman Osborn got into power.
Yeah, that's when Norman Osborn
Dark Avengers
took over Tony Stark's position and reformed S.H.I.E.L.D. as Hammer.
Dark Avengers, all that.
We'll explain the Dark Avengers now.
Dark Avengers was supervillains masquerading around as superheroes.
I know, tell them.
Dark Avengers was where Norman Osborn formed together a group of superhumans, and they masqueraded as the Avengers. You had Moonstone as Miss Marvel. Scorpion got the Venom symbiote and was Spider-Man. Bullseye was Hawkeye. Wolverine's son was Wolverine, and there was there was a few more, but it was all around. The Dark Avengers was meh until they started trying to...
I really liked that as a concept, though, which is really sad to see that not pay off.
It was okay until about issue 13, where they just started doing stupid stuff.
Yeah, that's usually how it
But
goes.
then that also jumped into Siege, where Norman Osborn thought it would be the greatest idea in the world for him to try to take over Asgard. Like,
now that I read, and he got his ass handed to him, because that's when Thor finally came back, wasn't it?
Yes, and and it killed off a couple of really good characters that they could have gone more into depth with. It killed off Sentry.
It killed off Sentry, but his was kind of like a catalyst that kind of had to end the story, so it was kind of understandable.
Yeah, it killed off Sentry and it killed off Ares.
I will say this, the characters that do die in this have a more meaningful death than most characters on our lists here. Their deaths serve a purpose. In the Ares' death, he sacrifices himself nobly in an act of rage that he told him was going to come if what he thought was happening was happening. And it spurs Sentry's inner self to realize what was happening. So once they did power the Sentry out, he was able to look at it and go, you have to stop this. It's not going to stop itself.
Yeah, and
I can't stop it.
It was like the only two redeeming qualities in that. I just thought it is so stupid for Osborn to think he could take down Asgard.
It's Norman Osborn. He's crazy anyway.
Yeah, and I didn't like it. Alright, let's get to 3.
Number 3? I have JLA Act of God. It's an Elseworld story.
Okay.
Essentially, the idea is there's this bizarre event where all the superheroes lose their powers.
Okay.
Supernatural heroes, I should say.
Okay.
So, you kind of end up having Wonder Woman be powerless. You have Green Lantern, Kyle Rayner's ring not working. Nobody knows why. Nobody's able to figure out what's going on. Hank Pym's powers stop working. Martian Manhunter's trapped in a Martian form. Not Hank Pym. Sorry, Ray Palmer.
Yeah.
Shut up. I know them as Pym particles, damn it. Not dwarf white stars or whatever he
Dwarf
uses.
alloy.
Well, whatever. But essentially, all the heroes are taken down to square zero.
Okay.
It's an interesting concept. Really cool idea.
It sounds so far, yeah.
Sounds good.
I'm waiting for the punchline.
The punchline is that it's written by a man who doesn't want anybody to not be Batman. Yeah, there you go.
So they all turn into Batman?
More or less. No, that's not true. Wonder Woman goes on the stock market, and ends up praying to the Christian God. Now, riddle me this one, kids. Wonder Woman, the Spirit of Truth, Amazon from Themyscira, who has met her pantheon of gods, has fought alongside and against them many times.
Daughter of one of them.
Daughter of...
Ares.
Is it the daughter of Ares?
Yep.
Was that after the reboot or before she was molded from clay?
I think after the reboot.
Okay, so after the reboot. So this is before that.
Yep.
Molded from clay, the Spirit of Truth, daughter of the Queen of Themyscira, ends up breaking down, believing that a power from on high, that she does not believe in, that she has met a differencing from, is punishing them. Yes. Superman turns into a drunk because he can't deal with it. Lois leaves him because he's not Superman anymore. But it's all coolsy. Because they settle their differences. They don't get back together, but they settle their differences. It's good.
Where's Batman in all this?
Batman's in this cave! To its credit, Batman doesn't act like the pompous jackass you would think he would. He actually acts like someone who is put in charge of a group of people who were very, very powerful and now are not, and has to help train them. He acts like Batman. So I will give him that. He's not the whole, "Whoa, it sucks that you don't have powers now. Get out of my cave!" And it goes a little bit extra, but god damn.
Okay.
God, I hate JLA Act of God. Kylo Rayner goes off his rocker and obsesses over the supervillain that kicked the crap out of him for whatever reason. Then he gets impaled on a spike at the end. I don't know why.
I'm done at this point.
It's awful. It's awful. JLA Act of God, don't read. Interesting premise, really stupid idea. I don't know.
Alright, my number 3 is Spiderman American Son.
I've not heard of this one.
It is, it's like a 5-issue miniseries that was molded, it came out as a graphic novel. It is just 4 issues of dumb and stupid.
What all happens in it then? Because you can't just say it's dumb and stupid. We got to explain.
It's such a headache, it's once again, during the Dark Reign, and it's like Spider-Man and I forget who else, they were trying to break back into the armory, and Osborn was working on a new armor that was supposedly all great and powerful, and it's 4 issues of just Spider-Man. It's like they're in the danger room, basically, trying to get through, and then in the final issue, somehow, Harry stumbles into all of this and puts on the armor and saves the day.
Wow.
And calls himself American Son because his dad's the Iron Patriot at this point. It's just 5 issues of bad. And that's why it made the list, because it was dumb.
Wow.
It was dumb.
This sounds almost as bad as Maximum Clonage. Wow. If we reach Clone Saga levels of bad, that's pretty bad.
Yeah, and that was my dishonorable mention.
That's your dishonorable mention?
Yeah.
Okay. Alright.
I guess I jumped into it like I was going to do it before number 1, but since my final 2 are DC.
Okay.
So,
okay.
I guess you can throw your dishonorable mention in here too.
I'm going to save mine. I'm going to
Okay.
save mine because it's probably going to throw you and probably a lot of other people out there.
Alright, well, we're at number 2.
Alright, number 2 is Superman at Earth's End. This is another Elseworld story, and it's a sequel.
To what?
Kamandi at Earth's End.
I've never read
For
either
those of you
those.
who don't know, Kamandi is a Jack Kirby story created way back when, and it is actually really kind of badass. It takes place in the 26th century. Most of mankind has been wiped out by some kind of weird-ass plague. The planet is inhabited by beast people that subjugate and humiliate humans on a basis, and Kamandi is one of the few pure-blooded humans left with no mutations. From there, you explore the world and the characters within it. It's really cool. So naturally, DC needed to reboot it, put him in a leather jacket, and have him go on this weird Mad Max-esque, but not Mad Max-esque because Mad Max is copyrighted and actually cool, kind of blazing across the nation, looking for the man who started the second apocalypse.
And that was Superman?
Which it turns out is supposed to be Superman, but it's not actually Superman. It's his bizarre mother machine thing, or machine mother. It's never quite said which way it's supposed to be said, but either way, it ends up being really stupid, really pointless. None of the characters are likable. So naturally, we needed a sequel to that to tell Superman's side of the story.
I'm done.
No, it gets better because there is one really redeeming feature in this that should have been the highlight and greatest point of it. Superman fighting twin clones of Adolf Hitler. That should be amazing. Everything about that makes my testicles swell with manliness. But unfortunately, nothing ever really happens about it. Superman gets the world's most impractical gun because his cells are draining faster than they can recharge under the polluted skies.
I'm done.
Ends up destroying the cloning facility, which is making bizarre Club Batman clones, like Man-Bat clones. And, he decides that the world is too bad. He can't help it anymore. It has to overcome its differences, lights himself and Batman's corpse on fire. And then, at the very end of it all, it turns out we get this really half-assed anti-gun message with the little kids that helped him saying, if it wasn't for guns, Superman'd still be alive. And they throw their guns in the fire despite the fact that guns saved the day.
I'm done.
So, there you have it.
done.
Superman at Earth's End. A half-assed sequel to a half-assed reboot of a really, really cool, iconic piece of property.
Sounds like the new Magnificent Seven movie.
I've heard mixed reviews.
Well, it's the original Magnificent Seven was a ripoff of Seven Samurai.
Yeah, and even then, that's not exactly the greatest movie ever.
Yep.
So, all right.
Well,
You're number one.
no, my number two.
Oh, you're number two. Sorry.
52 Countdown.
Oh, snap! I wanted to put that on there, but I figured you'd have it. Okay. Countdown, baby!
The
Yes!
aftermath.
I'm so happy you did this!
The aftermath of Infinite Crisis.
Woo!
Where we jump universes for no reason
And we skip 1 year ahead.
and develop characters and give no payoff to them. Jason Todd had the best character development in that whole series. No payoff because he gets back in the last issue. He's like, meh, that was pointless. The only good thing that thing did was bring the Red Robin costume to Tim Drake. That's it. Their universe hop, and it actually sets up for number one on my list. Because I hated it.
Alright.
I hated everything about it.
I'm so happy you put Countdown on here.
I hate multiverses. I hate universe jumping. The only time I haven't hated universe jumping was in the Flash TV show because they're not getting too complicated. I figure give me 2 more seasons and I might hate it as much. I hate universe jumping. It's stupid. You got rid of a multiverse and then brought it back for no reason. None. At all. We didn't need it.
Because hyper time sounds dumb.
I don't need 40...
We gotta have that. We gotta have the multi-dimensions.
I don't need...
The kids like the multi-dimensions.
I don't need 40 different multiverses.
52.
Well...
There's 52 different multiverses
Well,
because there's a monitor for each multiverse.
Well, I don't need multiple versions. I say 40 because, you know, there's some where they're human or they're... Well, there's not all the heroes aren't in all the universes. But still, I don't need 40 different types of Batman.
But...
I don't need 52 freaking...
But what would Monitor Bob monitor then?
Nothing.
No, seriously, there's a monitor named Bob.
Nothing, and he should never have been created. Nothing.
Are you saying that one of the people that looks after the universe and the multiverse, who's this really, really cool extra-dimensional being that can see across multiple chasms of time and space, Shouldn't have been called Bob. Should have been called something just a touch more impressive.
Yeah.
Okay.
But guess what? Marvel already copyrighted all the good names.
I don't know. You can always come up with something good. All right. I'm going to blast through my dishonorable mention here.
Okay.
And go into my number 1.
Okay.
All right. Because these are both Marvel.
Wait, what's
actually.
your number 2?
My number 2 was Superman at Earth End.
Okay, you missed one.
No?
Go through your list. 5.
Was Ultimates 3 Ultimatum.
4.
Aspar.
3.
Act of God.
2.
Was Superman at Earth End.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. We're there.
Oh, yeah, my bad. I'm sorry. Go for it.
Jared doesn't know how to count.
No, I threw my dishonorable mention.
You threw it in early.
Yeah.
And now you
Okay. Yep.
My dishonorable mention goes to Civil War, the comic book.
Okay, why?
Vilifies the Superhuman Registration Act side the entire way through while intending them to win at the very end. It was always meant for them to be the winner. But we're never given any reason for them to be the victor. They're hiring villains. They're putting people in a camp in the negative zone. They're all acting like assholes. And even then, the people on the anti-registration side, Captain America, acts like an asshole. No one's good in this.
Yeah.
They have them act against their character to service a plot, but the plot doesn't make any sense because the characters don't work this way. It was made for the book to write itself, not for the characters to flesh out the book.
I can understand. The Civil War is kind of... I enjoyed it.
It brings up a lot of good things that I like. I like the idea of them having to deal with the repercussions of what they do. If they were to go into combat against each other, they have to face the fact that some of them are going to turn against one another, and casualties will happen. And I like them having to deal with that. I enjoy that part of it. But goddamn, does it not hold candle to what I have picked as my number 1.
Okay. What's number 1?
One More Day.
I'm drawing a blank. Explain.
You remember how Spider-Man outed himself in Civil War?
Yeah.
Apparently somebody was hired by the Kingpin to kill him, but instead shoots Aunt May. As Aunt May lays dying, Peter goes all across the city trying to find people, but apparently the Sorcerer Supreme can't heal a bullet wound. Fantastic Four is conveniently out of town, and nobody's picking up the phone at Avengers Mansion. So, Peter goes on a navel-gazing spirit journey. Now, while he does meet his aunt and her soul, sort of, and she says, "It's okay, Peter. I've had a good life. Everything's fine. Let me go." He makes a deal with Mephisto for his marriage.
Isn't that where he... it undid
Yes.
his identity?
And rather than actually go forward and create new character dynamics with what they had, they regressed him back to his college and high school years, focusing instead on his stupid relationship problems, rather than having the character go forward into life. Because, you know what? Comic book readers didn't grow up. I didn't start paying bills and taxes. I didn't start having problems with my life. And you know what? When Peter started having problems with his life, I was really upset with that.
This
is stupid.
This is like the
Said no one ever.
This is the third time Aunt May's died too. Like
it's not even the first. It's not even the first. And the biggest problem is it didn't have to be this complicated, but instead it becomes this huge thing that apparently they can't ever be with one another because otherwise they'll rend the sundries of fabric of time apart. I don't know what the hell.
Did this jump start Back in Black or was
I
it
have no
after
idea.
Back in
I
Black?
stopped reading.
Okay,
This was the comic. And I again have to bring up Atop the Fourth Wall. For the longest time I watched, and I thought, it's for comedic effect. He swore off reading Spider-Man. Full stop. Said he would never pick up another copy again, unless One More Day was in some way redacted.
Mm-hmm.
To this day, according to my knowledge, he has kept that promise, and has not picked up a Spider-Man book.
Who?
The host of Atop the Fourth Wall.
Oh, okay.
A huge comic book fan. One that makes you and me look like peons. Introduced me to a treasure trove of wonderfully bad comics. And so I decided, you know what? I'm going to have to read this one.
And it was that bad.
The sheer amount of stupidity that I, as a non-Spider-Man fan, was able to find, pick apart, and understand could have been done very differently with just a few small alterations. Not only did it destroy a character's progression for nearly 20 years, not only did it destroy any building and plot elements that it had established from then, it destroyed several other people's versions and ideas of what the character could be and should be, and took away from an entire generation of people that grew up with him, loving and enjoying the fact that he moved forward with his life as they did.
And it gave us Spider-Verse.
And it gave us the Spider-Verse.
With versions that maybe that didn't happen to.
Which, in fairness, that did give us Spider-Gwen, which I have to say...
Thank God for Spider-Gwen.
I really enjoy her series, actually.
Thank God for Spider-Gwen.
It's turning out a lot of fun.
It also did... the only Spider-Man thing I've enjoyed recently was Superior Spider-Man.
I didn't read it. Like I say, I kind of swore off Spider-Man myself after this. I was
Doc,
like, you know what?
Doc Ock is in control of Peter's body.
Yeah, I heard about this. It sounds interesting, but again, until One More Day is done away with, I'm right there with him. I'm done with Spider-Man.
Okay. Well,
but that's my number one for the worst comic books ever.
You ready?
Let's hear it.
Final Crisis. What countdown led me into Final Crisis? Why do I hate Final Crisis?
This is actually kind of interesting because I think I've read Final Crisis and I kind of enjoyed some of it.
I don't. I did not enjoy any of it. The only good thing that Final Crisis did, and it's not even necessarily a good thing, is it gave us Barry Allen back.
Okay.
This was the book that brought Barry back into the fold, but a much better story was told in Flash Rebirth, which not the new...
Now, real quick, for those wondering at home, go over the events of Final Crisis for them.
You can't even really understand it, because this is one of the reasons it's my number one, is the book was a 7-issue miniseries, but each issue jumped massive amounts of time. And if you didn't read all the side stories, which not everybody can afford all the side stories.
That's one of the reasons I'm not a big DC fan, is because they like to tie them all in with different issues.
Exactly, and there was side stories. It was basically Darkseid was trying to brainwash everybody.
Oh, right. No, that's where Monitor Bob was found playing with action figures with Darkseid.
Yep.
Yeah. Now I remember.
And, but it just jumped, and it was so confusing if you did not read all the side stories, and I didn't. So, like, in the last issue...
Isn't that the one where they turned Mary Marvel evil for
quite
literally no reason?
Yes.
I thought it was.
And it's the whole anti-life equation that can turn anybody evil. So
the anti-life justifies my hate.
So their option to save the day, they have Batman shoot Darkseid with a gun. The character that hates guns, swears off guns, and this is also what gave us... This is why Batman Rest in Peace made my list, is because Rest in Peace was a decent story that was supposed to be like the end of Batman. Like, no, it turns out that didn't kill Batman.
Sentimental!
No.
Oh.
The Rest in Peace didn't. He swam and then went and did all this, and this is what killed Batman. So Rest in Peace served no story, and this, yes, it was the time bullet that sent Bruce Wayne traveling through time. I mean, I did love Battle for the Cow, so it gave me that. But otherwise, it was so stupid. It served no purpose but to give us Barry Allen back. And to take Bruce Wayne out of the comics for a couple of years so it could give Dick, Damian, Tim, and the rest of the Bat family some character development. Sadly,
it just kind of went to waste then.
Yeah. It just, it was, especially with the new 52, Flashpoint undid a bunch of it. But it just, I hated Final Crisis. They wore these stupid helmets that the anti-life equation was going constantly. Like, and somehow that turned Wonder Woman's dogs evil. and it was just so convoluted, and I didn't understand so much of it because of the jumps that it also a dishonorable.
It's okay, buddy.
A dishonorable mention because it was a tie-in
Okay.
was Legion of Three Worlds.
Uh.
The one where Superboy Prime is once again a problem.
Mm.
And which also makes no sense because you've already dealt with Superboy Prime multiple times.
To be fair, it did give us something we had never seen before.
A Legion of Three Worlds?
No. Darkseid on a couch. Where else are you going to see Darkseid sitting on a comfy couch?
Well, that's my number one for hated, dude. I
understand. Yeah.
Crap.
Final Crisis had a lot of problems. Yeah, I'm not a fan of it either.
Yep.
I'm kind of surprised you didn't put Rise of Arsenal in there.
I haven't read Rise of Arsenal.
It does a lot of character backtracking.
It
was during that time when they were doing... what's the guy who's like reverse Batman? Purple outfit, kind of wears a goldenish helmet. Super smart.
Oh, man.
Yeah, you know the guy I'm talking about.
Yeah.
Yeah, he got brought... There was a really, really shitty miniseries called Cry for Justice that preceded this.
Isn't that what cut Arsenal's arm off?
That's where Arsenal's arm got cut off. And it killed his daughter. Off screen. In a very, very tasteless fashion.
That could be a dishonorable mention.
That's a dishonorable mention right there. That being said, it did give us one of the... I will say this, it does have a very good scene where he's just coming to and he's trying to figure out what happened. And there's no dialogue. It's all It's all seen through the glass from the waiting room window from wherever they are. And it's them explaining, and it starts with his head in his hand, and then it just becomes him struggling against everybody that's in the room, ripping the IVs and crap out, and then throwing it through the window in a fit of anger. And it's a very, very touching scene. Works well. It's effective. It doesn't use any real dialogue, and it's done entirely through the character's actions.
And undone by Flashpoint. Beep, beep. All right.
And no Leanne Harper, because she was just too adorable to put. And we can't have a single father who's a unique character amongst all the others.
Nope, not at all.
Being a parent's boring. That distracts from superheroing.
Well,
that noise.
I think this will wrap it up for this video, and then we'll do our 5 on a
we'll
different
see
one.
when we do the best.
Yeah, there's a lot of good material in this
There's going to be some good material coming up. So.
Alrighty.
We'll see
you guys in a second.